The castle was shrouded in a thick fog that night, the kind that swallowed the faintest sounds and blurred the sharp edges of the towering stone walls. Inside the grand halls of Eldoria, whispers of unease fluttered between flickering candlelight and heavy velvet curtains. It was the night before Princess Helena's 15th birthday, a night that should have been filled with laughter and celebration. Instead, it was marked by a restless silence, a tension that clung to the air like a shadow. King Alaric paced the length of his chambers, his heavy boots muffled against the cold marble floor. His face, usually stern but composed, betrayed a deep worry tonight. The kingdom had not been at peace for some time. Rumors of rebellion stirred beyond the borders, and a dark threat lingered, unseen, but felt by all who dwelled within these walls. Yet nothing troubled the king more than the uneasy feeling that had taken root since Helena had become withdrawn. The princess herself moved quietly through the castle, her steps light but purposeful. Draped in a midnight blue cloak, she avoided the servants and guards, slipping past the tapestries that bore the royal crest. She carried with her a small, worn book, an old gift from her mother, filled with pages of ancient lore and secrets whispered by forgotten voices. The book was her sanctuary, her connection to a world beyond the suffocating expectations of court life. Helena paused at the edge of the castle's outer wall, where the thick fog met the dark forest beyond. The trees swayed silently in the cold wind, their skeletal branches reaching like fingers toward the moonless sky. She looked back once toward the distant glow of the castle windows, and then stepped forward into the mist. No one saw her leave. Only Sir Thomas, her most trusted guardian, watched from the shadows, torn between duty and the silent plea in Helena's eyes. He knew the dangers lurking in the forest, the whispered legends of a secret order sworn to protect the royal bloodline at all costs. Yet he said nothing, allowing her to vanish into the night. When dawn finally broke, the castle awoke to a silent horror. Helena was gone, her chamber untouched, her belongings undisturbed except for the open book lying on the floor, its pages fluttering in the morning breeze. The kingdom erupted into chaos. Search parties scoured the forests. The king's knights questioned every traveler, but no trace of the princess could be found. The years that followed were a slow unraveling of hope. The throne weakened, enemies grew bold, and the shadow of Helena's disappearance hung heavy over Eldoria. King Alaric retreated into grief and silence, while Lord Damien, the princess's ambitious uncle, quietly gathered power. But somewhere, beyond the reach of the castle's walls and the kingdom's despair, the princess was alive, changed, guarded, and holding a secret that could shatter everything. For 2 decades, the halls of Eldoria echoed with absence. The vibrant laughter of Princess Helena was replaced by a haunting silence that settled over the kingdom like a thick fog. The once glorious court grew cold and brittle, shadows creeping into every corner as uncertainty festered. The people whispered of curses and betrayals, their hopes dimming with each passing year. King Alaric, once a formidable ruler, had become a man broken by grief. His days were spent cloaked in sorrow, his gaze hollow as he wandered the vast chambers of his castle. The king's advisors, desperate to maintain order, tightened their grip on the kingdom, but their efforts only stirred further unrest. The void left by Helena's disappearance was more than a personal tragedy. It was a wound that weakened the very heart of Eldoria. Amidst the growing chaos, Lord Damien's influence swelled. With a silver tongue and a ruthless ambition, he played the court like a master chess player. To many, he was the kingdom's stabilizing force. To others, a sinister shadow lurking behind every smile. Whispers of his dark dealings spread through the taverns and corridors alike, but none dared confront him openly. His power was absolute, and his loyalty questionable. The people's faith in the royal family waned. The queen, Isolde, retreated into silence, her presence a ghostly reminder of the family's fractured past. Noble families plotted in secret, seeking to exploit the kingdom's vulnerability for their own gain. The borders grew restless as neighboring realms watched Eldoria's decline with hungry eyes, yet hope lingered in the hearts of a few loyal souls. Sir Thomas, bound by an unbreakable oath, remained steadfast in his vow to protect Helena's legacy. He gathered a small circle of trusted allies, determined to uncover the truth behind the princess's vanishing and the secrets hidden in the shadows of the court. Among these whispers of loyalty and betrayal, rumors began to surface, tales of a mysterious figure seen wandering the outskirts of Eldoria, a woman with eyes like the stormy sea and a presence that stirred the winds of change. Some claimed she was the lost princess herself, returned to reclaim her destiny. Others dismissed it as folly, a desperate hope grasped by a kingdom on the brink of collapse. As the years slipped by, the line between myth and reality blurred. The kingdom held its breath, waiting for the moment when the past would rise to meet the future, and the secrets of Princess Helena would finally be revealed. The morning mist had barely lifted when the castle gates creaked open to reveal a figure no one dared hope to see again. A woman, tall and poised, with eyes sharp as the winter frost, stepped through the grand archway of Eldoria's courtyard. Whispers rippled through the crowd like wildfire. Was it truly Princess Helena? Her once childlike face had matured into that of a woman who had known hardship and secrets beyond the walls of the castle. Clad in simple yet dignified attire, she bore no sign of the royal finery she once wore. Yet there was a regal air about her that commanded respect and curiosity alike. King Alaric, seated on his throne with weary eyes, was the first to rise. His breath caught in his throat, his heart pounding against decades of grief. "Helena," he whispered, voice trembling. The years of pain melted into a moment of disbelief. Helena approached slowly, each step measured and deliberate. She met her father's gaze, and in that instant the weight of silence was broken. "Father," she said, her voice steady but filled with the gravity of untold stories, "I have returned." The court erupted in a mix of shock and awe. Nobles exchanged wary glances, unsure whether this was a blessing or the beginning of new turmoil. Lord Damien's face hardened, his calculating eyes narrowing as he realized the fragile balance of power was about to be disturbed. Helena's presence ignited a spark of hope, but also suspicion. She was no longer the sheltered princess of their memories. She carried with her the knowledge of faraway lands and hidden truths. As she stood before the throne, it was clear that her return was not merely a homecoming, it was the dawn of a reckoning. Yet, as the castle gates closed behind her, a shadow lingered. Whispers of the secret she bore, a secret that could either mend the fractured kingdom or plunge it into chaos deeper than ever before. The grand hall fell silent as Princess Helena stepped forward, her eyes scanning the sea of faces, nobles, courtiers, and the wary king himself. Her voice, clear and unwavering, carried the weight of years hidden away. "I have not returned as the daughter you once knew," Helena began, her gaze fixed upon King Alaric. "I am the heir not only of Eldoria, but of a bloodline long thought lost, a lineage tied to a forgotten realm beyond our borders." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Lord Damien's face twitched, a flicker of unease betraying his calm demeanor. Helena continued, 20 years ago I was taken not as a captive but for protection. An ancient pact between our kingdom and the neighboring realm sealed my fate, to shield me from a betrayal that threatened to destroy us both. She revealed a delicate amulet, its emerald gleaming with an otherworldly light. This relic binds me to that oath. It is both my shield and my curse. The revelation shattered the fragile peace of the court. Questions rose like a storm. Who betrayed the royal family? What was the nature of the pact? And how would this secret alter the future of Eldoria? King Alaric, torn between relief and disbelief, rose with newfound resolve. "We must face this truth, no matter how dark it may be. Helena, your return marks a new chapter. Together we shall uncover the shadows that have long haunted our kingdom." Amid the murmurs, Lord Damien retreated into the shadows, plotting his next move. The battle for Eldoria's soul was only beginning, and with Helena's secret now revealed, the stakes had never been higher. The revelation of Princess Helena's true lineage sent shockwaves through the halls of Eldoria. The court, once divided by grief and suspicion, now found itself fractured by conflicting loyalties and whispered conspiracies. Lord Damien seized the moment to rally those nobles who doubted Helena's claim. A pact with a foreign realm? he scoffed in the council chambers. "Such ties could only weaken our kingdom. We must protect Eldoria from becoming a pawn in distant intrigues." But not all were swayed by his cynicism. A growing faction of loyalists, led by Sir Thomas and Lady Mirabel, championed Helena's right to the throne and the hope her return inspired. Secret meetings were held under the cloak of night, alliances forged in whispered promises and shared resolve. Helena herself walked the fine line between diplomacy and defiance. She sought to unite her people, appealing to their desire for stability, while preparing for the inevitable challenges ahead. Every step she took was watched by friend and foe alike. Amidst this political tempest, a mysterious envoy arrived bearing a message from the neighboring realm, a call for peace and a warning of darker forces gathering beyond Eldoria's borders. The princess's secret was more than a claim to power. It was a beacon that had awakened ancient dangers. As alliances shifted and tensions rose, the fate of Eldoria hung in the balance. Helena and her supporters braced for the storm that threatened to consume their world, a battle not only for the throne but for the soul of the kingdom itself. The sun rose over Eldoria's mist-covered battlements, casting a pale light on a kingdom on the brink of war. The court buzzed with nervous anticipation as armies gathered on the horizon, loyalists to Princess Helena ready to defend her claim, and forces loyal to Lord Damien prepared to seize the throne by force. Helena stood tall atop the castle's highest tower, her gaze fixed on the distant banners fluttering in the wind. The weight of 2 decades of exile and secrets rested heavily on her shoulders, but her resolve was unshaken. As the first horn sounded the call to arms, the princess donned her armor, not just a symbol of her royal blood, but of her readiness to fight for her people and the truth. The clash that followed was brutal and fierce. Steel rang against steel and cries of valor echoed through the valley. Helena led with courage, inspiring her followers with a fiery spirit born from years of hardship. In the midst of battle, Lord Damien's forces faltered, his schemes unraveling as his support waned. The tide turned when loyal knights breached his stronghold, capturing him and ending his bid for power. With peace restored, Helena addressed the kingdom from the throne, promising a new era of justice and unity. The secrets of her past no longer cast shadows, but served as the foundation for a brighter future. The kingdom of Eldoria breathed a collective sigh of relief as the sun rose on a new era. Princess Helena, now fully embraced by her people, stood as a symbol of resilience and hope. The wounds of the past began to heal, replaced by a renewed spirit of unity and purpose. King Alaric, his heart lightened by his daughter's return, took his place beside her as an advisor and proud father. The shadows cast by Lord Damien's ambitions faded into distant memory. His reign of manipulation ended. The ancient pact, once a source of fear and mystery, became a bridge between Eldoria and its neighboring realms, fostering alliances that promised peace and prosperity. Helena's secret was no longer a burden, but a treasured legacy that bound the kingdom together. As the castle bells rang through the valleys, heralding celebrations and laughter, Helena looked to the horizon with unwavering determination. Her journey from a vanished princess to the kingdom's beacon had only just begun, and so Eldoria stepped boldly into its future, a kingdom reborn from secrets, strength, and the enduring power of truth. If you enjoyed this tale full of mystery, secrets, and twists, don't miss the next adventure coming your way, packed with passion, drama, and surprises that will keep you hooked from start to finish. To help me create even more amazing stories close to your heart, tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from? I'd love to know every corner of the world where our stories come alive. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss out. See you next time.